She is 23. She was born in Nyahururu. She went to the Kenya High School in Kileleshwa. Wow. I'm talking about none other than Tracy Muriithi, who has defied all odds to become the youngest Kenyan realtor in Toronto, Canada. And at 23, she's sold already over 40 houses. How daring.
Look for the opportunity. The opportunities are always there.
Later in this show, and of interest to Kenyans, whether you are living abroad or back home, we will showcase King's Apollo Suites in Kileleshwa, where you can customize your home ownership experience. But let's begin in Toronto with Tracy Muriithi. Wow, time for Daring Abroad again. There you are. We are glad you found time to be with us again, and we are coming to you from Toronto, Canada, and I'm with Tracy Muriithi. At 23, a successful realtor, a prominent successful realtor in Toronto, Canada. Ama nimedanganya?
Hujadanganya.
Na unaona Kiswahili nakijua vizuri sana at 23. Tracy, that's daring. How did it begin at 23?
I started my business, my real estate business, a couple while back, 3 years ago. And the main reason was I was looking to venture into a business that we as Kenyans in Canada, we're not so many realtors in the business. So I was like, I want to be the one who's going to spearhead our community into owning real estate, into teaching them about real estate in Canada, also in Kenya too, so that like you can learn how to invest and you know, like learn where to put your money and how to buy assets and all that. So I was like, I can be a better change to my community. And also I was looking for a business to get into that I would figure out. And I was like, let me take the risk and get into real estate and let's see how it plays out. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to watch these real estate shows that used to come on KTN.
I see where it began.
So it started there, and I was like, I want to be able to sell these big houses and, you know, show these big houses. So mostly that's where we got started. And after I came in, went into school for business, I was like, I need to figure out how to use my education to support my business. So I was like, then real estate would be the best. My dad himself is an entrepreneur. And I was like, I don't really want to go into like get a job, a 9-to-5. I was like, let me try something different, because I saw the type of life my dad lived. And my mom is a teacher, so she had to go to school like, every day and all that. So I was like, let me look for a business that I can run by myself, hire people and, you know, get started and look for customers and clients and sell houses, help them buy houses, help them rent houses. So that's where like my mind was when I was getting started.
And in what sector, which business does your dad do?
My dad is in construction. He does a lot farming, and he also owns like a fleet of matatus.
Where?
Yeah. Back home in Nyahururu.
In Nyahururu.
Yes.
Now I know your village. I mean your roots. You come from Nyahururu. That's where you are born?
Yes, I was born in Nyahururu.
You went to school there?
Yes, I went to school there for my primary school. I went to Charitabi Academy, and then I went to the Kenya High School for high school.
Kenya High in Kileleshwa?
Yes. Yes. And then after the Kenya High School, I went to Strathmore to pursue ACCA.
ACCA is what?
It's like accounting specifically, but international accounting. And then now I moved to Canada without like completing my Strathmore education. So I came here to study business technology management at Ryerson University, which is now known as Toronto Metropolitan University.
Which year?
Right now, I just completed my school. I came here in 2019.
You came here in 2019?
Got in school, and I just completed school this summer specifically. So I'm just graduating in 2 months.
I mean, you barely graduated and already in business. So did you begin this idea while you are still studying?
Yes. So I had the idea to do real estate while I was still in school, and then I pursued it, went to school when I was doing my degree and also went to school for real estate at the same time. Then pursued both of them, finished the real estate and got my license, and then now started working in the business.
So here in Canada, you must learn the trade. You must go to be trained to be a realtor.
Yes.
You don't just, awingi tu.
Yeah.
Kenya is free for all. Anybody.
Anybody can sell you a land.
Yes. Hapa ni tofauti.
It's completely different. You have to go to school. They give you 2 years to finish school, but for me, I finished it in 8 months because I really wanted to like get into the business and start and just move on. So I did it in 8 months. They give you 2 years to finish school, and then you get licensed, and then you get into a brokerage. And for me, the brokerage I'm with is Remax. It's one of the best, top in the world. Different offices in every place, every country in the world. So yeah. So getting into a brokerage, in Canada, for you to do real estate, you have to be under someone. It's like under a company. So before you start your own company. So you have to be under a company, but you're running your own business. So it's for them to regulate like how we do business, right? Because if you're under Remax, there are some rules we have to follow, and they help you in terms of marketing and branding and all that. So it's like your employer, but it's not really your employer, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's paying your employer. It's not them paying you. So if I sell a house, for example, and let's say your commission is like $25,000, you'll have to pay a specific part of that commission back to Remax because they are basically your umbrella, and then everything else you keep for yourself, and you run your business the way you want to. The only way you cannot not be under a brokerage is if you have your own brokerage. So if for example, let's say Chams Media was its own brokerage, that will be after you got a broker's license. That is after you've practiced real estate for 2.5 years. Then you can get a broker's license. That's something I really, really want to venture into, and I'm giving it time. I'm studying for my broker's license now, so that I can be a broker. Right now, my title is a real estate agent or a realtor, and then after 2.5 years, you do your broker's license if you want to, and after you get your broker's license, you do something we call a broker of record, and now you can open your own office, your company, your own like Remax, right?
Yeah. Tracy, how many houses have you sold since you started practicing this?
Ooh, that's a huge number. I think I'm at house number 42.
42 already?
Yes.
That's daring. That's daring.
Yeah.
42 houses at the age of 23.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
And all this just within Toronto?
All of them is within the GTA, so it's like Toronto and its surrounding areas specifically. In Canada, you're only licensed for one province, so I can only sell in Ontario unless I
province.
go to a different province and get licensed there. So basically, I do all over the GTA, and Oshawa, Oakville, Richmond Hill, Vaughan, downtown Toronto, Scarborough. You go around everywhere depending on your client's needs. This house is going to be a bungalow, and it's a freehold since it's by itself on its own piece of land. Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom house, 4 bathrooms, and it's asking $1.8 million. And
1.8 million Canadian dollars.
Yes.
This is over 167 million Kenya shillings.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I think Toronto is one of the most expensive markets, like in the world too. Like our prices really went up during COVID, and then because interest rates went down and a lot of people were getting into the market, then afterwards interest rates go up. If the interest rates are low, a lot of people are going to bid on a house. So you'll find like during COVID, if a house, for example, is selling for 1.2 million, after bidding wars, it's getting to like 1.6 million. So prices really went really high, and we're still there.
So, Tracy, how have you managed to hack it, so to speak? I mean, competing with the natives?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. In Ontario, actually, there's over 100,000 realtors. So that's a lot of competition. But how I've managed is just being yourself and growing your brand. Marketing, of course, double down on marketing and let people know the services you provide. So if you want to buy a house, you're going to call me and be like, hey, Tracy, I want to buy a house. And I'll sit down with you. And before we even say, oh, maybe you can afford this and this and this, I will refer you to a mortgage broker first. So talking to a mortgage broker, he'll look at your income, or they look also at your debt to equity ratio and your credit. And then they'll be like, oh, the bank can give you, for example, let's say 1.6 million or something. But in Canada, you need a specific amount of down payment for you to afford specific. So we're going to check how much money do you have saved up for your down payment. Anything below 500,000, it's 5% down. Between 500 to 1M, it's 10% down. Anything above 1M has to be 20% down. So mostly for a house like this, you'll need like 360, like close to 400,000 down. And then after we are like, okay, so you have this money and the bank is giving you this mortgage, then we're going to sit down and be like, okay, what are your needs and wants for a house? I want a 4-bedroom, I want this, I want a backyard, I want a swimming pool. Then I'm going to send you a couple of houses to check online. And then after that, we are going to go see some houses, and whatever you like, we're going to put an offer on it. An offer can be accepted or declined, or we have to negotiate on price. Then after, let's say your offer is accepted, we'll do an inspection on the house. So for example, like this house is a little bit dated. So we'll do an inspection to see everything's working nice. And then we'll wait until we close the deal. After the mortgage goes through and everything is paid, then you have your house and here are your keys.
You close the deal.
There's a lot of challenges in every business. It was a little bit harder to like get through, like, you know, like market myself and figure out what my niche is specifically. That's already a challenge. The other challenge is we are in a predominantly white country. So you'll find that some people will not be willing to work with you because you're black, or, you know, there's a lot of racism that shows up. But the good thing about Toronto is there's a lot of immigrants. So people will work with everybody, because if you can deliver the service and I've seen your results, why not? What Canada has taught me is be daring and take the risk. If you are able to take the risk, and if you know you don't have that much to lose, just take the risk.
A very inspiring story there, and congratulations to Tracy for those achievements at 23, and indeed a great inspiration to the Gen Z. We now take a short break. When we return,
I love how inclusive they are.
We have residential houses, we have office spaces, we have apartments that are inside Nairobi, and we have apartments outside Nairobi.
How you can customize your home ownership experience at the King's Apollo Suites in Kileleshwa, Nairobi. Welcome back. Remember, today's show is all about the real estate sector. We began in Toronto, where we met 23-year-old Tracy Muriithi, who has already made it in this sector at a very young age. Time now to look back what's happening in Kenya, and we are now showcasing how you can customize your home ownership experience at King's Apollo Suites in Kileleshwa.
In Kenya, property ownership is driven by a number of factors. These include diversification of investment portfolios, tax advantages that come with home ownership, predictable cash flows where the investors opt to rent out the premises, and creation of generational wealth, among others. These are just some of the reasons why Nairobi-based Tasneem Yamani, a medical doctor at Amat Healthcare, decided to venture into Kenya's real estate sector. This was about 2 years ago.
I was trying to be a first-time homeowner, but I didn't have enough to buy a house that I can possibly live in. And I didn't think that's possible until I have my 20 or 30 million to buy a house in a place where I can live that's accessible for me, for my day-to-day, for my kids' school, etc. Of course, there's always that hesitancy because of the property market that we've been in, that we've had so many challenges where people invest and the house is not done on time, and then you're there stuck with your money in something, but the house is not complete. So I was very scared, and that's why I've never bought, in all these years, not bought my own house. But I finally got that advice on how to do it, how to go around it, and it hasn't been false advice. It's been very candid, it's been very real.
Indeed, after years of skepticism, Dr. Yamani was able to find her footing in Kenya's housing market. This was through the assistance of one of the country's premier real estate developers and a proven titan of the industry with over 18 years of experience and over 40 completed projects.
And my first interaction with them was probably 2 years ago, I think around 2 years ago, when I invested in one of their projects in Rongai. So after some guidance from Kings themselves, they were like, you should be able to buy something that's within your budget and grow it to be able to then get what you're actually willing to live in. And that's how that journey started with Kings.
Through Kings Developers, Dr. Yamani was guided through the intricate nuances of home ownership in Kenya, and given how green she was at the time, this service was an answered prayer.
But we had a discussion and it became a whole thing about buy what you can afford and let it grow into what you can actually, or what you're actually looking for with time. And that's where the journey started at Serenity. I bought a house as an investment to grow it, to be able to then eventually buy a place I can actually live in, because Rongai is not where I can stay. Not for any reason, just simply because my kids are all the way, school is here, work is on the other end of town, so it would become too much. So I went with it, with the guidance and advice I received, and I think I didn't go wrong, because had I have not taken that step, today I wouldn't have 2 other homes that I can call my own. How they helped me is when I bought the project, they helped me resell that one at a profit and use the same amount to reinvest in another project, which is in a place I could actually consider living in. They gave me payment terms on it. So how it grew is I had a deposit amount that came from my previous one, which had earned me a profit to increase the deposit, and used that to reinvest again, and they still gave me time to pay it off. And then thereafter, there's a third project that I again invested in. So from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, and from not having a home at all to now going through owning 1 to owning 2, because the one that I own grew into double. So it's literally 1 made 2 for me.
Yes, Dr. Yamani is now an active real estate investor, with her latest investments being King's Apollo Suites, luxurious 3-bedroom apartments in Kileleshwa.
I have 2 homes there. One is my mom's and one is mine. The reason that appealed to us is, one, we both are in the same space. It has amenities around it. So for my kids, there would be a pool, there'll be a recreation center. For my mom, if she needs to walk around, I don't need to tweak her outside the area and look for a park. So even if I'm not at home, she's able to get everything under one space. The location of the project is very convenient. There are things around it. There's a supermarket next door. There's schools in the vicinity. It's not in a far away place where you're like, okay, how do I get around? How do I get myself moving around? So the convenience of the place, the facilities it has, the space of the houses, the sizes of the apartments itself, and it comes with pretty much everything you need in one space. So yeah, that does it for a everyday working mom who can't tear herself into pieces. So yeah, it helps a lot.
One thing about Kings Developers is that we understand that clients are not the same. Customers have different, diverse needs. And one thing's for sure is that we try to meet those expectations. We try to meet those needs, because I know for sure by the time you're coming to purchase a property, even if it's not a property, even if it's clothes, the specific things you're looking for. We have residential houses, we have office spaces, we have apartments that are inside Nairobi, and we have apartments outside Nairobi. We have apartments and townhouses in our upcountry market. So you can actually see that we don't really have one formula that we solve for each and every person. The diversification also will include in the end use. Do you want to live in that house? Do you want to do business in that house? Do you want to have an office? Do you want to do an Airbnb? Do you want to rent it out? So by the time we are on the drawing board trying to come up with a house, we have already factored in all these aspects. So when we are selling a commodity to the market, we will tell you, this is perfect for you to do Airbnbs. This is perfect for you to do rentals. This is perfect for family-oriented homes. Just like what Dr. Tasneem said, we give you advice which is very free. And because we want a sure client with us, so that you can tell your friends that Kings Developers is solid.
As an investor, I'm not in the industry, I'm a doctor. So I have no idea how to go around this. So I come to you expecting you to have the expert opinion on it. And I don't expect you to just sell me something because you need to sell. I'd like you to understand me, understand what my needs are, and guide me based on that. Not just because you have a certain thing to sell, you'll convince me to buy it, yet it's not what I'm looking for. You'll understand me and then tell me do this or do that and go buy it. So I feel being listened and understood is really important, especially when you're investing in trying to set up a home.
Speaking of exceptions, another alluring aspect of Kings happens to be their unique designs.
I love how inclusive they are. They have a child area. It's family orientated. It's not. I mean, you have all options available. For me, I'm a family of 4. I have 2 kids. I have an elderly person in my house, so it accommodates all of us. And that's what I love about it.
Apollo Suites is a fantastic project because it's family oriented, and at the same time you can also invest in it and get very high returns, get good payback for it, because the location itself, as Tasnim has said, it enables you to maneuver around, whether you want to go to Westlands, whether you want to go to CBD, Kilimani. Kileleshwa is very strategic for you, with amazing schools, with great shopping centers around, it's also safe, and even the amenities are amazing. King's Apollo Suites it's the hot cake because it knows what it's giving, and it's giving quality lifestyle, it's giving comfort. Literally, we tell you, when you buy Apollo Suites, you're upgrading to where you truly belong.
And when it comes to cost,
King's Apollo Suites is 30 million Kenyan shillings. The good thing is that you do a 20% deposit. Then now the balance, you spread it out for right now for 12 months. Then you can be able to, we advise you accordingly. As Tasnim has said, we really try to shelter you and to ensure that your home ownership process, your investment journey is, we've always said it's risk is what, but we want you to feel very safe with us.
I think I've learned on what you need to ask, the right questions to ask when you're trying, especially on the off plan, how to judge on whether this is feasible for me or not, whether this is actually what they're saying, how to make those calls. Like, I've learned a lot on what to look out for, how to follow up, how to know which way things are going, and to basically know when you're being given a story and when it's true.
I can tell you for a fact is that King's developers will hold your hand and guide you. We want you to be knowledgeable. We want you to understand the effects of buying a house. We want you to understand the consequences of not getting one at the right time. I've always told clients the right time to buy a house is yesterday, because you're able to understand that you're leaving something that is able to cater to you, to the children's children. You can have a resale value of your home. So we guide you and we listen to what you're looking for. And that kind of touch, I believe, you can only find at King's Developers, because above everything else, you come first.
Great insights there on how you can customize your home ownership experience with King's Developers. And remember, from 25th to 27th October, King's Developers will be having an open day at King's Orchid in Thika. That's how we wrap up our show today. Always a pleasure having your company, and remember to subscribe to this channel, Chams Media TV YouTube, your home of inspirational content. See you again next week.